Everyone thought he was a lonely, deranged loser with no friends or son, but everything changes when he is thrown into an off-brand Squid Game island with a lot of people where he has to fight for his survival. Ning was a stupid incel with a room temperature IQ and a bad case of amnesia, but he thought that he was smarter than Stephen Hawking and Einstein combined. One day he wakes up suddenly from a nightmare in a dimly lit space with no idea of how he got there. Struggling to orient himself, he hears a strange girl's voice saying how glad she is to see him awake and warns him about the wall behind. Just as she said that, he turns around to see that the wall is full of spikes and is now moving towards him. He immediately gets up to run to the other side and the wall abruptly stops. He starts to panic as he searches for an exit, but the girl tells him it's useless as the door can't be opened from inside. He tries to pull out the bars from the window so that he can escape that way, but it turns out to be useless and he falls down on the ground exhausted. The girl Jin from the other side starts crying like a baby, saying that they are going to die here. He asks her who she is and what she wants from him, but when he looks closer through the hole and sees that she is also a victim here, just like him, he apologizes. In the middle of her tears, she tells him that no one is going to come to rescue them, and that the spiky wall will move towards them every couple of minutes. He tells her to calm down and asks her to use the axe beside her to crack open the window and get out. But she tells him that there is now window on her side. So he asks her to give him the axe so that he can at least use it to free himself and then save her next. She stops crying and asks in a grim tone to promise her that he will come back for her. Suddenly, walls from her side start moving and she pleads with him to make the promise. He finally makes a death promise and she pushes the axe through the hole, but it doesn't go through. He pulls it from his side with all his might, but it doesn't work. So, he asks her if she can make the hole bigger from her side, and she strikes the wall with great force, only to realize that it's made of graphite and that it can't be broken down that easily. She gives up and starts crying once again, but Ning has enough with her and tells her to shut up so that he can think clearly. He then asks her how she ended up here, and she tells him that she has no idea except that she was taking a nap in the subway, and when she woke up she was in an iron bed. As soon as she tells that he gets an idea and tells her to crush the bed and give her the iron bar. She gets up and does as she is told, giving him the iron bar through the hole. He immediately rushes to the window and breaks it open. In the nick of time, he escapes as the girl pleads with him not to leave her behind when the wall starts closing in on her. As the time goes by, she thinks back to how she was left behind years ago during her hiking trip. One of the guys in her group was injured, so she took him to a cave and helped with his injuries as her father was a doctor and she learned this stuff from him. The rest of her group arrived and pulled her outside to discuss with her secretly. They told her that they have to leave quickly because of the snow, but she refused, saying that one of her teammates is injured and that they can't leave him behind. The injured guy overheard this and shouted at the two other guys for betraying him like that, and in the end, the two guys left her and the injured guy to die while they left alone. The days passed and she did everything to keep them both alive and also helped with the wound. In return, he tried thanking her with a kiss, but she rejected him, and when she came back after some time gathering food, she was shocked to see that he too left her behind. At the present, all she could think about is how men have always betrayed her in the past, and starts crying again, thinking that Ning had abandoned her. But to her surprise, he breaks open the wooden roof and offers his hand in help. She grabs hold of his hands and they make it to the outside, panting heavily. Suddenly, out of nowhere, she hugs him and says how glad she is that he came back. She introduces herself and tells that she is in first year of medical college before asking about him, but he doesn't answer and asks her to look around. They realize that they are not yet safe and get down from the roof landing in the balcony of a lighthouse. They see a metal door on the floor leading to an underground tunnel and decide to try it. Ning gets down first and she follows him behind as they carefully get down using the metal ladder. As they climb down, he sees that there are a few missing steps and jumps a few steps down, asking her to do the same. But she is too scared, so he tells her that she will catch her. She jumps and she catches her with ease, but this causes them to accidentally slip and they fall off from the ladder into the sea. As he feels he gets the same nightmare of drowning, but Jin wakes him and carries him to the surface. Time passes and he is still unconscious, so she carries him to a room on the lower floor of the... She checks if anyone is there and turns on the light only to find a creepy looking corpse. As she stares at it, terrified, she hears noise behind and slowly turns to find a guy with orange hair threatening her with a knife. The guy tells her to go back and put Ming to the ground. She does as she is told and shakes in panic as he approaches her. He asks her basic questions and then about the mummy sitting next to them. She tells him that she doesn't know anything about it and he finds it hard to believe. He tells her that maybe he questions Ning and stamps him on his finger, waking him up with pain. He asks Ning if he knows the girl, to which he replies that he doesn't, and Jin starts crying, saying how they both escaped from the cell, blah blah. The orange-haired guy Jang threatens to stab them with a knife if they don't obey his rules. Seeing the knife almost kill him, Ning cries out that he doesn't know Jin, and she wonders why he is lying. She thinks back to their fall and his behavior, now thinking that something doesn't add up. Jang asks what's the matter, and she explains everything that has happened so far. She then tells him that the fall must have caused Ning some brain damage, and that's probably why he doesn't remember anything. He tells her to shut up, saying that he isn't stupid to believe in her nonsensical stories. She begs for him to let them go when he was about to finish off Ning. He stops and agrees to her in one condition if she explains in one word why Ning would risk his life to save her. She starts panicking as the time runs out and he almost kills Ning. She suddenly removes something and shouts at him to stop before asking how long he knew his oldest friend. He hesitates before replying that he knew his friend for 25 years since he was 3 at an orphanage. He tells her to cut the and get to the point. She says that if saving another life means one should know the other person for long, then can he be sure that his friends would risk their life to save him? He goes silent and she continues that if that isn't the case, then it's possible that a person can save another's life even if they don't know them well. He gets up and tells her to shut up, but before putting the knife away, he tells her that his friends will do anything for him and that she is wrong, but he also admits that it isn't true for everyone. After some time, Jin schools Ning on what happened earlier and how he saved her. He can't believe that he actually did that, nor that he can't remember it. Jang asks him what's the last thing that he remembers, and he tells reading a Playboy magazine in 5th class. They give up and go to examine the mummy. Jin observes that it's humid here and asks how then it's possible for a mummy to be here before grabbing its arms like it was a piece of candy. She examines its arm and tells them that this body was placed here, and with the boy's help, she places the body on the floor before further examining it. Jang guessed that it might be a marine before tearing open its clothes. They are shocked to see that numbers have been carved out in the body with possibly a knife. They wonder what the numbers could mean, but none of them could make sense of it. So they give up for now and talk about other stuff. Jin asks about Jang and he tells her that he works for a gang headed by some Don Chine. 3 days ago, he was fleeing from a group of punks by boat, only to find himself here when he woke up. Jin also tells her story and that she woke up here suddenly after she took a nap in the subway. The two wonder if this is the work of some other gang or the human traffickers. But Nang tells them that it's not, and the number they saw on the body is significantly in all this, before adding that this all seems like some kind of game. Jin agrees and tells that up until now, everything is like an escape game and that they should look for clues. Jang says that he had already searched around the place and found a blown-up staircase. Suddenly, Jin notices a scroll in the mummy's ears and pulls it out to find a map drawn inside. They see a place marked with X, and also the lighthouse along with few other places and symbols. Nang appears to be shocked and tells them that he has seen this map somewhere before, but can't remember. Jang shouts at him to think hard, but he holds his head saying that it hurts. Jin tells him to calm down and takes Nang to a safe corner and asks if he is okay. He tells her that whenever he thinks about it, he is getting this headache. She tells him not to push himself harder and comforts him. Unable to see their nonsense, Jang goes out. The next he goes to see 2 of them sleeping close and wakes them up by nearly kicking them. He tells them that they should leave from here and go to the place marked X in the map. Ning gets excited as if they are going on some treasure hunt, while Jin asks if it's a good idea in their condition, but Jining tells them that he is giving them no choice and that they are nothing but his slave. Later, they pack their stuff and go into the forest following the map. Suddenly, Jining asks them to stop and examines the ground to find a trap with someone's blood still in it. He tells them that if they find another set of tracks soon, then they should cover theirs. He then tells the 2 that as his slaves, it's their job to collect food and water secretly. The 2 immediately go in search of food like the slaves they are, and Ning comes back with some strange wild fruits while she collects mushrooms and herbs. Suddenly, Jining comes out of nowhere and kills a cute rabbit, quoting something about survival of the fittest crap. He then takes them to a cave he found out and proceeds to cook the meat. He eats it all by himself, leaving only the fruits for the Ning and Jin. When he is done, orders her to make his bed using the hay they collected. She gets up and goes to do her master's bidding while he asks Ning to have the leftover meat as he is a guy. He then gets up and proceeds to go inside the cave, warning Ning not to come inside and keep guard. As she makes the bed, he pins her to the ground and she cries in help. Ning hears this from outside and wonders what to do. He runs inside the cave and shouts at Jang to stop. This makes him mad and he kicks Ning to the ground, but he gets up saying that they shouldn't do bad things to each other because they are a team. Jang, fed up with his nonsense, simply punches him in the face and throws him down before leaving. It's almost evening and he goes inside the forest to have his me time. He concludes from the couple's earlier behavior that they are not minions of any gang and is frustrated that he got lectured by that stupid Ning. Suddenly he hears a noise asking for help and rushes towards the cave to find the couple have also come out to check the same. He asks them to follow him as he goes after the sources of the noise. They see a man seemingly running away from someone, and Jin, seeing that he is about to fall into the trap, proceeds to warn him. But Ning covers her mouth and stops her from doing so. Jang explains that they can't see the man's pursuer and that something is fishy. He predicts that whoever is chasing that guy is probably the one who made the trap in the first place. And to their shock, they see a tribe guy with an axe, as the guy who fell into the trap manages to get up alive with little strength. This tribe guy simply slaughters him like a pig and drags his body away. After the man leaves, Jang tells them that they should head back to the cave and lay low for a while. Inside, Jin takes a rest while Ning asks him why that man could be and if he is a savage. Jang simply replies how the heck he will know and tells that this place is more dangerous than he thought. He then offers to guard the cave for night and warns Ning to keep his guard up. The next morning, the couple head out to get food and Ning comes across a coconut tree. He climbs up and throws the coconut down for Jin to catch, but suddenly a rat comes near her. Seeing this, she cries out loud and Ning starts to panic that someone must have heard her. Jang comes running thinking the savage is back, but when he learns the truth, he scolds them both for being stupid and useless. Suddenly, she runs away saying that she needs to pee and Ning becomes concerned. After she is done with her business, she hears footsteps and gets scared. Before she knows, something approaches her and she lets out a loud cry, and the boys hearing this rush to help her. When they arrive, they see two tribe guys have captured her and pinned her to the ground. Ning desperately wants to help, but Jang tells him that it is too risky now. As one of the tribe guys takes the axe to finish poor JG in, the boy decides now is the time to fight. Ning rushes to help, but someone shoots the guy with the axe on his head and kills. Seeing this, the other guy fled the scene and Jang tightly hugged Ning after seeing him. Someone approaches them and they look up to see a woman carrying a gun, probably the one who saved them. She introduces herself as Tracy, a member of the police, and tells them to hurry up, as the savages might come back. She tells them that she has company down the cliff and asks if they want to join. Jen excitedly agrees, saying that more is merrier. Jang stops her and asks if she's been to Hong Kong, to which she replies that she hasn't. He tells her that he too hasn't been to the Seth, but he is pretty sure he has seen her somewhere. She dismisses it casually, saying that it might be someone looking similar to her, but the group is now a little suspicious of her. She bends down to check the guy's wound and sees that he was shot in the back while she aimed for the head. She finds it strange because she is a champion shooter and there is no way she could have missed. But before she could ponder, furthermore of the savages return and the group run to avoid their arrows. Tracy hides under a pit and starts shooting while asking them to head to a creek in the woods. Jang takes the useless couple where she mentioned. They settle down and fresh up by the poolside, wondering why it's taking Tracy so long to return. Jang tells that she is either dead or has run away before warning the two dumbasses that there are more people on this island and that they have to be very careful. He tells them to never speak of the map or the code they found on the mummy's body to anyone else. Jang tells that she is going to what Ning says, but the idiot talks some nonsense about fighting class and ranks as if they are in some video game before agreeing to Jang to work as a team, who then asks everyone to make a death vow to follow the same. In a dramatic fashion, the three vows to team up and fight for survival, never betraying each other no matter what. Just then, Tracy comes back and tells them that they have to leave this place as she doesn't have much bullets left. She then asks them to follow as they head to where the rest of her company is. When they reach the place, she introduces them to her friends, saying that they have been attacked by the savages and she rescued them by killing a few of the savages. One of the guys calls her a badass while the other tells her that she wasted bullets rescuing these strangers. Jang gets mad at the guy who said that and threatens him. But Tracy intervenes and tells them to quit fighting. She tells him that if he and his team want to stay with them, then they obey her rules and not harm any of her teammates. Jang smirks before agreeing to her rules before getting to know the others. Jang and Ning also introduce themselves, but everyone is surprised when he tells them that he is a 5th grader. Jang quickly corrects them that Ning had a head trauma and only remembers till he was in grade 5. Tracy then tells them what she discovered that day. She saw a massive architectural complex that looked sinister, and one of the guys tells that they should explore it immediately, but another guy disagrees, saying that it might be the Savage hideout. Another guy also agrees to this, and says that they should steer clear of it till they come up with a solid plan. They call in for a vote, and it's a tie with Jang messing up the vote by saying he will wave first, and then votes against exploring that area. One of the guys accuses him for being unfair, but he simply says he didn't break any rules, just used a loophole. So the guy tells them that they call for another vote, and offers to give a check of $10 million for anyone who sides with him to explore. Jang accuses of bribery, but he disagrees, saying that it's similar to a politician promising something in exchange for winning the election, because he is doing all this in front of everyone, and is not offering it in private, making this a strategy and not a bribe. Jang smirks, saying that he too has a strategy, and tells the couple to vote for him. When that guy Ishigaki points out that he still has one vote less, he tells him that from now on, whoever votes for him, he is going to offer $30 million. Tracy points out that he doesn't have that kind of money, to which he tells Ishigaki is going to pay for him, because he wants the vote to go badly his way, so he won't mind paying extra. Soon they call in for a vote, and naturally Jang wins it with one of their guys turning to his side and demands that Ishigaki pay up if he wants them to go explore the huge architectural complex. The next day they all head to the site, and as they go through the forest, Yang tells that he wants to discuss something with Tracy in private. She tells that he can do it here itself, but he insists that they go alone, and when she still refuses, he goes and whispers something in her ear. After that, she tells him to stop and pulls him aside to discuss privately, while the rest wonder what's happening. Suddenly, she slaps him on his cheeks and returns to the group, saying that he went too far. He simply laughs, saying that he was right, and is going to repay her for this. The group asks her if she is okay, but she doesn't tell them anything and continues walking in frustration. The group silently follows her as she leads them to the complex, and they arrive at the site by evening. Everyone is amazed to see such a huge building and stand there gawking. Tracy asks Ishigaki if he can identify the architectural style, and he says that it is similar to the Mayan pyramids. So Jang asks if they are in Egypt, but he says they can't be sure since pyramids are part of many countries before listing a few examples. They go inside, climbing down a seemingly endless number of stairs. Tracy warns them to be careful and stay closer in case the savages return. After what seemed like hours, they reach the central part of the complex. Jang tells Ning that she is feeling terrified because at first she thought they were all kidnapped or something, but now it looks like they are in some other continent with strange people. She wonders if all this is some kind of game of reality that they are forced to play. Ning simply says like a kid that maybe they are inside a video game, and she lets out a sigh wondering what to do with this useless amnesia patient whose ick is now of a 5th grade kid. They discuss some more, and he sics her to stay positive as this place is marked in the maps, which means they are going in the right direction. The two then laugh out loud, saying that they never have to work if they escape this place because now they have a check for $30 million with which they can survive with their whole life. Tracy calls Jang and shows some burning marks. She feels it and says that it is still warm, meaning someone lit a fire there just some time ago. The others wonder if it's the savages, but Ning says it can't be as they don't know how to use batteries, meaning some other people also ate there, and Tracy tells observing the surrounding that they had also taken rest there. Ishigaki tells them that they should now go inside the pyramid to explore. One of the guys refuses, saying that it's safer here, and Jang tells them that they should split into 2 groups. One will go inside to explore, and the other will stay out. Ishigaki agrees to one condition, that he splits the team. He will lead the exploration team with Tracy keeping them safe, and Jin will accompany for her medical skills, while another guy for his physical strength. The rest all will stay out, and if anything happens to the team inside, then they will rescue them. After they go inside, the orange hair guy asks Jang why he didn't oppose and offers to team with him to take down Ishigaki so that they get all the power. Jang smirks and simply refuses, saying he doesn't want to work with pests like him. When that guy continues his nonsense, he pulls out the knife and threatens him, demanding his check. The guy tells him that this is a crime, but Jang tells him that he has no evidence, and true to him, the only possible witness is busy taking a piss. Meanwhile, the other team goes inside and explores the inscriptions on the wall. Ishigaki tells that they need an archaeologist to decode this and move on. As they continue exploring, Jin thinks back to what she told Ning. She had poisoned Jang with her hair clip when he tried to take advantage of her in the cave, and if she didn't secretly give the antidote, then he would die in 7 days. She had warned Ning that the antidote is going to cause Jang severe pain during healing and wonders 8F. The time for that is nearing. Just like she predicted, his stomach starts hurting and asks Ning to guard the area while he goes to relieve himself. Just then, a bug group of the savages arrive and they start running in panic. Jang, unable to tolerate the pain, clutches his stomach and falls to the ground. Ning suddenly remembers what Jin said earlier and runs to him. As the savages aim for Jang, who struggles to stay conscious, he reaches just in time and carries him over his shoulder to safety. The orange hair guy finds a switch and pulls it for a door to secretly doll from the top and slowly closes. Ning hurries with Jang as it closes and narrowly manages to get inside without their heads being crushed to pulp. They gasp in horror as they realize that now they can't get out, and hearing the noise, the other team comes back to check. Jang thanks Ning for saving his life and scolds the other guy for almost locking them outside. The guy says that he was scared and had less time to think, so he closed the door in panic, and Ishigaki too agrees, saying that it's the right call. Ming asks them how they will get out, and he tells them that for now, they don't waste their energy worrying about this, and focus on exploring further, maybe finding another exit. Jin suddenly notices a purple bruise in Ning's arms and examines it. She then gets Yang's knife and cuts open his arm. But then she drops the knife in horror, saying that he is not bleeding and is infected with a serious kind of neurotoxin. She then starts crying sadly, saying that if this spreads to his heart, then he will be gone quickly and has only about 10 hours left. Jang pleads with her to do something as he is only in this condition because he rescued him from the savages. Jin cries even more, saying that she really wants to save him, but there is no medicine here, and she is helpless. Jang gets up, although he is in extreme pain, and declares that he will go out and get the cure from the savages. He then starts pounding on the door as if that will open it. Min tells that he is fine for now, and that they should quickly find another exit so that they can get out, and Jin can prepare the medicine. Ishigaki tells everyone that of all of them, Ming seems to have the best survival instinct despite having no other skill or specialty. And they all get going. They go down a staircase and hear water flowing nearby. As they go, they observe the wall, and Tracy tells that it's moist, meaning that there can be an underground stream somewhere near. Suddenly, they notice light coming from further end of the stairs and wonder if that's an exit. But when they reach there, they are shocked to see that it's a hallway submerged in water and only a few pillars floating. Ming clutches his head, saying that it's hurting again and that he has seen this place before. Just then, they hear someone cry for help and wonder if anyone else besides them is inside. Jang points out that the noise is coming from the water and goes to check. They see 4 people in the water and one of them seems to be unconscious. The guy holding the unconscious guy asks for help, and says that he can hold him further. Ishigaki asks who they are, how they got into water, and the yellow-haired guy tells that they are also like them who got here suddenly and was about to say the rest, but the water level starts getting higher. He pleads with them to help and offers to tell everything once they get out. Seeing that they are still hesitating, he tells that the professor in his arms can read the savages' writing and also know where the exit is. Jang tells them that they should save this group and gets a rope from Jin, but it's too far away to throw. One of the guys offers to do it as he is much stronger than the others and ties stone to the rope, securing it before throwing it in the water. The yellow head catches it and everyone gets together to pull the group to the surface. After some time, they manage to resume the group and lay the profession on the ground. The yellow head thanks them for rescuing him and his friend, but Ishigaki ignores it, asking him to explain himself. The yellow head tells that he is Andrei, a Russian mercenary who is now a member of the Israeli military organization. The ugly fat ass introduces himself as Ding, an artisan, and Ning gets excited like a kid, saying that he loves art. The brown-haired girl introduces herself as Cherry, a housewife from New Zealand. Andre then points to the man lying on the floor and reveals that he is an expert in ancient civilization and can read the inscriptions on the wall. Tracy checks on him and reports that his breathing is normal. just that he is unconscious and will be fine after some rest. Jing tells that they don't have time for that and asks her to wake him up. The professor gets up coughing and tells that the exit is somewhere only because, according to the inscriptions, once they reach the highest point, the door should appear itself. They wonder if it's in the ceiling, but Ishigaki says that there are so many pillars here, and if they find the highest one, then they might find the door. Jin asks how they reach there since it's a long way from the surface and they can't swim till there. Andre tells them that they don't have to and explains that there are 4 inlets in this room that open and close at certain times. When it opens, the water level rises and each pillar there has a platform, meaning they have to swim to one platform and then wait for another water level change before swimming to another. The professor says that although they have figured this out, they still don't know which pillar to pick during the water change. They discuss if they simply swim to the highest pillar when the water level rises. But Andre tells them that the water comes at a tremendous force and they won't be able to make it. The professor agrees and reveals that they already tried that and failed miserably, with him getting struck in the head by water force and would have drowned if not for Andre. As they speak, the inlets open and more water comes out, submerging most of the pillars. Andre tells them that they have a 10-minute gap between each water pour, and tells them that they have to figure which pillar to pick before the next pour. Ning says that it is very simple and that they should just go in a straight line, explaining that there are many pillars there, and that they should start with the 2 pillars in a direct line in front of them. The professor stares at him in shock, like as if he is a mad genius, and tells the others that he is absolutely right. They planed out that in the next 5 minutes the water will rise to the first pillar and they will swim there, and the subsequent pillars will all be 10 m taller than the rest. So they have to wait for 2 pours to get to the next pillar and so on, which means in 1 hour they should reach the top pillar. They divide into groups, with the strongest climbing the pillars first and pulling the weak one up using the rope one by one. The orange head argues that the last one being pulled up will be more in danger and suggests that they draw lots to decide the turn. But Jin disagrees, saying that if the weakest one like Ning is in the last, then he won't make it. To this, he simply says that he doesn't care if Ning dies, and Zhang gets mad and kicks him, drawing out his knife. Andre and Tracy both pull him back and point their weapons at him. Ishigaki warns him not to harm any of the teammates and says that they don't have any option but to draw lots to determine the order of who is being pulled. Unfortunately, Cherry gets the number 8, meaning she will be the last to go, and Tracy goes to comfort her, but Ishigaki trades in for her offering to go last while she goes first. She thanks him and the group starts executing the plan. When the water reaches to their surface level, they start swimming, with Andre climbing the next pillar first. He then throws the rope down and Ishigaki helps Cherry to hold it. Andre then pulls her to the top while Zhang and the other guy climb on their own. Next, they pull Tracy up and continue with others. Now it's Jin's turn, but she asks Ning to go first and goes next. Only 2 more are left, the fat ass and Ishikagi. As they pull the fatty, they hear trembling and realize that the next pouring is going to start. After a great struggle, they pull him up, leaving only Ishikagi, and before Andre could throw the rope, the water starts pouring in and the group starts to panic. But Ishigaki somehow manages to get hold of the rope. The group struggles to pull him up against the water current in just the nick of time. They rest for some time and discuss the place. The professor tells that architecture is built by Gulen for testing strength and courage. The others ask what's that, and he explains that it's located in South America, a mysterious and ancient civilization. He tells that at present there is no record of that place and that he only know about this because his professor studied on it. The Gulens were the predator of Maya, and that only in Mayan literature there are records of them. Ishigaki asks if it means they are in South America, and he says that it's highly possible before mentioning that a place very similar to this is documented in the ancient Mayan literature. He then talks about the characters on the walls, saying that it is Gulen language and only consists of 20 alphabets. Ning asks if those savages are ancient Gulens, to which the professor tells them they are not. He continues to tell about what he learned, that the Gulens are extremely intelligent, and some even say they are immortal. Everyone looks at one another in shock and wonders how they ended up here. Ishigaki asks how Mayan defeated the Gulens then, but the professor grimly replies that they never did. One day, both the island and the Gulens living in it mysteriously. Suddenly, Ning gets another headache, and he says that he already heard this from somewhere but can't remember. Jin comforts him, saying not to worry as they will get out soon and can find the cure for him. Just then the next pouring comes and they start swimming to the next pillar, and similar to the previous time they make it to the top with rope. They congratulate one another for teamwork and getting better at this. Suddenly, the fatty notices a gate and points to the others. The professor wonders how that's possible as they haven't reached the highest point yet. He repeats what the inscription said, that he who reaches the tallest pillar will be shown the opening to the altar. He says that this must be the real exit. And Ning adds that if they get there, they only have 5 m to climb, or they have to wait for the next pouring to swim there. Andre quotes some Russian saying and says that it is best they stick with the original plan. Ishigaki too agrees, saying that it's possible, even if it's the real exit, it might not open until they reach the highest point. Ning, however, points out that by the time they reach the highest platform, another pouring will come that will submerge the current one, including the door. They all agree that with this pouring, it will be next to impossible to get to the exit. Tracy mentions that the hallway that they came in was moist, meaning that the water must have gone there at some time and must be circulated. Ishigaki predicts that when water comes to a certain level, a drainage structure must be activated. Tracy says that first they reach the high platform, and Andre adds that if this is the real exit, then they will swim from there to here ASAP. They all agree on the plan and head to the high platform, with Andre reaching there first. He announces that there is a gate there and starts pulling the others up. When Jang was climbing the platform like earlier, he accidentally trips and falls, causing the other guy also to fall with him. Andre shouts at them to quickly climb back and pulls Cherry to the platform first. When she sees the door, she becomes dazed, moving towards it, and notices a hand impression. Tracy, as she climbs up, sees her about to touch the door and shouts not to do that, but it's too late and she pressed the door, which caused it to flip, and she went to the other side. Suddenly, the gate at the below platform opens and everyone questions what's happening. They all get to the top and discuss the issue and wonder what happened to Cherry, as the door at the below platform was fully flooded. They plan on finding the door and rescuing her, but the professor says that it won't be possible, as the inscriptions here mentions that only when one of the warriors sacrifices himself, the gate to the altar will open. Shocked at this, they wonder what to do next, and Ishigaki tells them that the door below must be the real exit as it opened. The second Cherry went through this door. They question the professor how they will get there, as it is fully submerged, and he tells them that after pressing the button, the water won't rise anymore, meaning till next pouring the drainage system would be activated and the water level will get low. The other guy gives an idea that since he is the fastest swimmer, he will get there first and secure the rope in a safe place, and they all can hold on to it to swim there. They all agree, having no other choice, and go with the plan. As the drainage system activates, it creates a vortex, and they hold onto the rope tightly to keep balance. Fatty struggles to hold onto the rope and almost gives up, slowly slipping into unconsciousness. As he blacks out, he thinks about how badly he was bullied as a kid for stuttering. That time, Master came and gave him hope, saying that he too has a stutter, but not anymore. It was because he worked hard constantly to overcome it, and advised him also to do the same. This memory makes him not give up and doesn't let go of the rope, holding it for his dear life. Finally, they get to the platform and rush through the door. It leads them to a dimly lit hallway and sees something strange. The professor examines it and says that it's snakeskin, and judging from the skin, it must be 100 years old. Ishigaki looks around and sees human skeletons laying around, remarking that this place is extremely dangerous. Suddenly, Ning starts babbling nonsense, and Jin tells that he is having a high fever, so they need to find him the cure soon. Andre goes to help her carry him, when suddenly Tracy asks the group to look ahead, and they find the altar, but nothing indicates that they ate any closer to the exit. Jang rushes to find any clues for the exit, despite others' protests. The others also follow him and reach the top of the altar, where they find a gate. The professor warns everyone to be careful, as there might be traps, and goes to observe the inscriptions on the wall. Jang asks what it means, and he reads it saying that humans once betrayed gods, so gods cursed them. And from then on, humans had to provide sacrifice to the Python god. After reading, he asks someone to lie on the altar, and Tracy goes to do that. As she lays on it, the gate starts opening, and Jang is about to go through it, but the professor stops him, saying that the altar is a place where humans show gratitude to the gods, and the ritual requires sacrifice. To demonstrate, he asks Tracy to get up, and when she does, the gate immediately closes back. He tells that for others to survive, one of them should sacrifice themselves and be left behind. The other guy asks if they can place a rock on the altar for the gate to open, and they all agree to try. Everyone goes in search of a big rock, and Fatty calls everyone, saying that he found some rocks. The other guy goes to lift a big rock, but as he picks it up, it crumbles under his hands and he falls back because of the impact. The professor addresses the group that the rock here has been for too long and has weathered, so they have no way of moving it. Jang goes to the table and knocks it with his knife, saying that it's solid, but he can't move it by himself. Ishigaki tells them that they have no choice now but to leave someone behind. The yellow head tells that it's obvious that Ning should be left behind as he is sick, and Jen disagrees with him. But he keeps on insisting, saying that Ning is anyhow useless as they can't be sure if they will get the cure or not, and they don't know what lies outside. However, Ishigaki too agrees, leaving everyone shocked. They decide to call in for a vote, and the result is Ning will be left behind, but Jang pulls out a knife, saying that anyone who decides to harm Ning will have to get through him first. The yellow head asks Andre to put Ning down, but he refuses, saying that as a soldier he will never abandon his comrades. Jang then approaches the yellow head and beats the out of him, saying that he should be the one to be left behind. The others don't complain, and in the end they leave him behind to escape through the door. They run through a dimly lit passage, wondering if they are going in the right way. As they run, the professor thinks how Zhang has a good grasp of psychology and how everyone thinks knowing too well that no one liked the yellow head and used it to his advantage. He also seemed to have known that Tracy wouldn't interfere unless she wanted to kill him. Just then, they find the exit door and push it open to finally make it outside. Everyone rejoices and thanks one another. Old Jen looks around to find herbs for making the cure. She says that usually the cure lies next to the venom and hence might be somewhere close to the snake's nest. They lay Ning on the ground while she examines him, saying that he is becoming stable and needs to rest a little longer. Jane takes Andre's help to carry rocks so that they can go back and rescue the yellow head while others split to do various tasks. And the other guy will find food. Tracy will guard the area while Ishigaki and the professor will make weapons using tree branches. Meanwhile, the yellow head wakes up on the altar and notices that everyone is gone. As soon as he gets up, the exit closes and he starts crying and panic banging on the door as if that would save him. Suddenly, he hears a noise from behind and sees something huge come up from behind and cries for help. Outside, Ning finally wakes up and slowly opens his eyes and tells them that his head hurts. So Ishigaki tells him to take more rest. As Andre and Jang continue with their task, they hear Yellowhead's cry for help and wonder if something terrible has happened inside. Meanwhile, Jin tells how glad she is that the medicine worked when Ning gets up and sits. Suddenly, they see Fatty rushing to them, and behind there is a large deadly python chasing after. They all rush to safety while Tracy comes swinging like Tarzan and shoots the snake, saving the Fatty. She asks what happened to the other, and Fatty tells that he fell off a cliff while running. The snake continues to chase after them, but luckily Jane comes on time and kicks it away. The snake gets up furious and attacks him, but dodges it and strikes its head with his knife. The snake shakes him off and he falls from the cliff. Ning starts crying and is about to run to him, but Ishigaki stops him, saying that there is a lake below, so he will survive. Just then, the snake retreats back and they wonder if it's because it's heavily injured. Down the cliff, Jang survives the fall and rushes the other guy from the lake. He pumps his chest and the other guy wakes up coughing water. As he thanks Jang, he notices something on his arm and points it out. He was about to rip the giant leech from his arm, but the other guy tells that he can't do that and needs fire. So he takes out his lighter and burns it, saying that he got really spooked. This time, however, another leech gets to the other guy's shoulder and he removes his shirt. Jang is shocked to see that there are so many leeches all over his body and kills them off one by one. They decide to now find the other before they find themselves under more leeches. Suddenly, purplish bubbles start flying around them and the other guy tells him to keep his hands off, but Yang does the exact opposite and starts poking the bubbles. This releases a sweet fragrance and the two suddenly collapse in the ground. Meanwhile, the rest of the group go through the forest and also find the purplish bubbles. Jang warns the others not to touch it and that its air mass coagulated from the miasma in the valley. Just then, Ning notices Yang and the other guy on the ground and rushes towards them. Fatty notices blood marks on the other guy's back, but Jang says, "That's just leeches, nothing to worry for now." After some time, the two get up and Ning warmly greets Jang. The group gathers around and discusses recent events. The yellow head most certainly faced death, and now they wonder what to do. Ishigaki suggests that they find food as they haven't eaten anything the whole day. Suddenly, an arrow shoots near them and they find themselves surrounded by the savages once again. They take a defensive stance as the savages approach them and the professor translates what they are saying. It seems that the savages' leader is asking them to stay put for now, and the professor decides that this is the time to negotiate. The leader asks the professor how he could speak their language, while the group wonders how the leader of the savages can speak their language. The leader asks what's their connection to the one-eyed man who can also speak in Gulen, and the professor is shocked that there is someone else who knows this language besides him. The leader threatens him to speak or be eaten, and the professor tells that he is not sure who the leader is talking about. The professor says that he learned language from his professor who died many years ago, but when he lived, he was a one-eyed man. As the group walks, they discuss the professor's mentor who got a double degree in archaeology and medicine. Ming tells Jang that his arm is becoming, and they discuss whether the savages are taking them to their shelter. Jang says that he checked the map and that the villagers' place is located on the same way they are going. He then whispers to Ning that when the time is right, they will flee together. Fatty asks the professor how it's possible for the mentor to have come here when he died a long time ago. The professor tells them that it is impossible since he didn't leave France for a long time before he died, and he knew this because he was there by side almost every day. Tracy tells him not to worry too much and focus on the task at hand. When they reach the savage place, they see lots of those people going about their life. Fatty tells that he is scared, but Ishigaki tells him to put on a smile and act normal. The leader of the savage tells them that if they manage to heal their father, then they can go. Otherwise, they will be eating their entire village. Jin and the professor go after the leader, but as soon as he sees her, he starts cursing how a woman can heal their father and she will kill him. The professor tells her that Julin had a strong perception on male superiority over women who are forbidden to do anything other than playing the housewife. The professor tries explaining to the leader that only Jin can cure his elder son, but he doesn't believe him and threatens them. Just then, another savage with only one hand arrives and says something to the leader. The professor translates that he is asking the leader to let Jin give it a try. So they finally go inside and see many savages resting. Wright tells the professor that the old guy spiked their language better than the leader. The professor tells her to shut up and be quiet as they come close to the chief. After examining him for quite some time, Jin finally diagnoses that the chief has malaria and tells the group that people with malaria will suffer from various complications such as amnesia. Ishigaki asks what the treatment is, and she tells the treatment is simple. They have to keep him hydrated, give quinine orally, which they can extract from the centona tree. Its bark is the major raw material of quinine extraction. Ishigaki says that this tree usually grows in dark and humid rainforest areas. Since they are in South America, it should be in the rainforest close to them. The professor tells them that the chief has agreed to send 3 of them to the forest to search for the herbs while the rest stay here as hostages. And if they don't come back with any medicine before tomorrow's sunrise, the rest will be killed. They discuss and come to a conclusion that Jin should definitely be part of the 3 since only she can identify. Next, Tracy will accompany her to keep her safe, and the third will be Andre, who asks Jang for his knife. Nang tells him to give the knife since they won't be needing it, and he agrees, giving the knife to Andre. Later, Nang asks Jang will the 3 be okay, but he simply tells that he doesn't know before praying to God. The professor looks at more inscriptions and says that these savages worshipped Gulan Naga as their god, and every time there was a large outbreak of malaria, they were helpless and in fear of death. They called it the Curse of Gods, and when this happened, they brought the infected to the altar as offerings to Gulan. But 10 years ago, a group of soldiers killed and trapped these people. They all vanished into some volcano until one day the one-eyed guy who they think is the professor's master walked out of the mountain alive. He had known the Gulan and also cured them. That's why when the savage saw one of them speaking the language, they kept them alive so that they could cure the chief. It was said that one-eyed man stayed here itself the rest of his life and became part of their community. That's how few of the savages knew their language, and one day the one-eyed man disappeared when mysterious ships came to this land. Meanwhile, Jin and the others are looking for the tree in the midst of rain. Andre asks how it looks, and Jin describes that it should just be 5 to 15 m in height and looks special like from far. They can see a mix of green and red. Suddenly, Jin shouts that she found one, and they go after it. Meanwhile, the professor tells that it's possible his mentor isn't dead, and Ishigaki asks how this is possible as he has been to his funeral. The professor says that archaeology work needs a lot of money and support from the nation, and the Gulan wasn't that famous. Hence, the research was disrupted until one day his mentor reopened the project, and when he asked him who funded the project, his mentor said it's some private organization with whom he has an agreement on and kept the rest of the details secret. Part of the agreement was blood donation after death. That's why the body wasn't burned or buried, and instead was taken away by the organization. But now he suspects that his mentor is alive and could have faked his death with his knowledge of medicine. He recalls that 2 years before the mentor's death, he had gone to visit him and found his dog laying on the ground, dead. And when he told him that he didn't seem much concerned, instead he injected something to the dog and said that modern medicine can control life and death, as the dog acts back looking perfectly fine. He had told him that he was experimenting on a drug that could fake death, and when asked why, he had simply said, for fun. Hearing all this, Ning gets an idea and says that the answer to his mentor's death is the key to their current dilemma as to why they were all brought here. He asks who was that mysterious organization that sponsored the fake death drug, and who are the civilized people that came here before them, and what did they do in the volcano. First, they need to cure the chief so that they could leave the place and go to the volcano, because only there they might find all these answers. Meanwhile, Jin and the others collect the bark of the tree to prepare the medicine when suddenly Tracy points a gun next to Andre and shoots. He turns to see some strange creature leave, and she tells that it was about to attack him. Jin shouts at them to look where she is pointing, and they see more of those monkey-like creatures around them with red eyes. Back at the cave, the savages come and take the others, although it's not yet sunrise, and Fatty pleads with them, saying that Jin and the others will be back with the medicine soon. When the savages bring them to their execution place, Fatty cries in fear, and his pants. The professor tells the other to be brave because these savages worship bravery and will kill off the cowards. True to his word, one of the savages drags Fatty away to be executed, but luckily Jin and the others come back. Later, they all eat heartily, and the whole Fatty wakes up shouting that he is dead. Jin prepares the medicine and gives it to the chief, who slowly starts getting better. The leader thanks her and tells that she will teach them the cure so they don't have to sacrifice any humans. After this, the old man thanks her, saying that the one-eyed man never taught them the cure, but she is much nicer. He then tells her the exit route from here to the mountain. She asks him about the monkey creatures in the woods, and they were released by the civilized people who came before them. He then tells her that if they get bit by those monkeys, then they too will become like them. Later she tells all this to the rest of the group, and the professor tells that this is beyond any science that he has seen or heard. Ning suggests that these monkeys might be the result of the experiments created by the private organization for creating immortality. The professor feels shocked and betrayed by his mentor's skills. Ishigaki comforts him. Everyone decides to check the mountain so that they can find an answer soon. The next day, Zhang goes fishing with the savages and manages to capture a tiny fish while Jin teaches the old man how to cure cold and cough. Zhang, seeing the old man smoking, asks him for the pipe, but the old man tells that it might be too strong for him. True to his words, he passes out with just one sniff, dreaming about beautiful girls. The old man laughs and tells that he will wake up at night. Later, they all join the savages at their festivities and have fun, but as soon as they have the wine, they are shocked to find it too strong and hot. Jin gets drunk with one sip and the leader laughs, asking all of them to have fun. Ishigaki asks him if he can arrange a guide so that they can explore the volcano tomorrow, and the old man offers his service. Andre sees the savages having an archery match and decides to participate. The leader offers him the one-eyed man's crossbow if he wins, and if he doesn't, he demands his hat in exchange. The match begins, and the leader goes first, aiming perfectly at the log. Andre goes next, and before starting, he pulls out his hat, revealing long ladylike hair, and gives it to the leader, saying that no matter who wins, he can have it. He then shoots with the crossbow and pierces through the leader's arrow with ease, winning the crossbow. He then takes out another hat from his pocket and wears it to cover his hair. At night, Zhang finally gets up and goes outside to find everyone having fun. Suddenly, he hears a noise and goes after it to see the zombie monkeys hurting one of the savages. He cries for help, and Ning arrives in time to warn that the monkeys are aiming for him. The leader and Andre also arrive, shooting those monkeys with their arrows. When Jin goes to help the injured savage, the old man stops and tells that it's too late, as he will turn into those monkeys soon. The leader carries the injured savage body and goes to dismember it before burying it, so even if he turns into a zombie monkey, he won't be able to come out. But before the leader could do it, the injured savage wakes up and bites his hand before escaping. When the others come running and ask about his hand, he tells them that he fell off and got hurt. The other savages search for the injured while Jin bandages the leader's hand. She tells him that the wound looks more like a knife wound than scratch, and he looks away. Ishigaki says that they should soon leave for the volcano and tells that he has collected plenty of food with Andre enough for the week. Ning asks the old man except him if there was anyone else who got injured by the zombie monkeys, and he tells them that others all died, including his son. He too was infected, but the one-eyed man chopped off his hand immediately before he could turn. That's why he is alive now. The next day, the group thanks the savages as they were about to head for the volcano, and the old man apologizes for not being able to accompany them like he promised. They hear a bustling sound and ask what's happening. The old man tells them that a new chief is being counted today and invites them to join, but when they hesitate, he becomes creepy and gives them no choice. At the ceremony, they see the ex-chief stabbing himself to collect a bowl of his blood, and the leader drinks it to become the new leader. Suddenly, the old man laughs like a maniac, saying that if one eats the zombie monkey's organ, the infection becomes rapid and they turn immediately. He reveals that the leader was the one who did this to his son, and now he took his revenge by giving the same to the leader. True to this, the leader immediately turns and becomes a zombie monkey. Everyone runs away in panic while the old man laughs like a psycho with tears in his eyes. Fatty and the professor escape to the forest, panting heavily in exhaustion. They wonder what happened to the others as they all got separated in the panic. The professor says that if they head to the volcano, then they might meet them. Suddenly they hear a noise and get scared to death, but it's only Ning. They discuss the situation and hear footsteps, so they go to hide behind bushes. They see Jin running this and were about to meet her, but she accidentally trips on ropes and the savages soon come after. The savages agree to not kill her because she helped them despite their leader order. They point her to the volcano direction and ask her to go fast. The three don't see Kay out of their hideout till later because it's not a guarantee that the savages will spare them like Ren. The savages leave. They come out and see a small map with a route to the volcano and discuss. Later, they go to the shores and decide to spend the night there, as the savages won't come there. As they sit around and discuss, suddenly Ning remembers something from the past. He was thrown off the ship by some men, and a guy was begging him to come back and save him. When he got back to the boat, the men were gone, and he apologized to himself for not being able to save that guy. Fatty and the professor go concerned and ask him what's happening. He regains consciousness and tells them that he was getting bits of his memory back. Just then he looks at the shore and observes that it's getting smaller. Professor tells them that the tide is moving in and they have to leave immediately. As they get up, they see crocodiles, and Ning tells them that it's best that they wait till the tide falls. However, Fatty gets scared and runs away in panic, causing the crocodiles to come after him. He somehow manages to escape and run to the forest and find a rope. Suddenly, he bumps into Jang, who is smoking, and asks him to shut up. He asks Fatty where the others are, and after he hears the truth, he gets pissed that Fatty ran away abandoning his friends. Just then, a group of zombie monkeys come and surround them. Jang asks Fatty to go back to the shore while he keeps the monkey here. Before sending him away though, he threatens Fatty to help the others, especially Ning before facing the monkeys. Fatty goes back to shore and finds Professor and Ning hanging onto a tree to escape the tide and crocodile. Ning tells him to tie a stone to the rope and climb to the next tree. After he climbs, Ning asks him to throw the rope and catches it. They tie each end of rope to both the trees and use it to travel across. The professor goes first but realizes that the rope is pulling down, so hurries off and jumps to the other side. Ning climbs on the rope and walks across, but the crocodiles follow him and nearly have him when he gets down. Luckily, Zhang comes from nowhere and attacks the crocodile, but they all notice his eyes and realize that he is also infected. The professor thanks him but asks him not to follow, but Ning tells him that there can be an antidote in the lab by which they can cure Zhang since he didn't fully transform. The next day, Zhang sees the volcano first and was about to rush there, but suddenly sees someone coming from behind and shouts for help. Everyone hears her cries and rush towards the noise, but it's only Ishigaki and that other guy who are now eating like greedy pigs. Attack and Andre arrive at the scene, but so do the monkeys. They run away from them and luckily manage to escape, panting heavily. Tracy says that she only has 3 bullets left, so they have to be careful. Zhang tells them that they have to go back and get the food supply because the volcano will be deserted. Ishigaki suggests that the team divide their responsibilities to ensure efficiency while collecting food and supplies. He assigns specific tasks to everyone, Zhang being responsible for gathering herbs essential for survival. Andre is in charge of ensuring the group's security. The other guy and Tracy are tasked with searching for food. Once the duties are assigned, the group sets out to carry out their respective roles. Jang quietly prays for Ning's safety, worried about the challenges he might face, who in the meanwhile encounters numerous swamps that block his path and decides that climbing a nearby cliff might be a better option to find a way forward. Fatty and the professor decide to keep a safe distance from Zhang, as they are afraid that he might turn completely and attack them. The professor suggests they separate to avoid further risk, but Ning refuses and decides to stick with Zhang. He recalls the first conversation he had with Zhang, where he asked her about helping strangers in need and the promises they made to each other. To him, Zhang is like a brother, and leaving him behind feels unthinkable. Ultimately, the professor and Fatty agree to stick together as traveling alone in these terrible circumstances seems too risky. Meanwhile, Andre asks Zhang how she managed to cross the swamp, and she explains that when she stepped into the swamp, the savages appeared and threw stones to guide her along a safer path. He laughs heartily at her story, finding it amusing and somewhat unbelievable. Jen then turns to Andre and Tracy, asking about their own experiences crossing the swamp. Andre, being a seasoned soldier, explains that it wasn't difficult for him because he had encountered similar challenges during combat missions. Ishigaki, being a sports enthusiast, shares how he cleverly used wooden boards and tree vines to create a makeshift skyboard, which allowed him to cross with ease. As the group gathers the food and herbs they've collected, the other guy points out that Andre seems to have feelings for Tracy, who is skeptical and doesn't believe it. But the other guy insists, pointing out how Andre went out of his way to protect her during a monkey attack. Surprised by this revelation, she recalls a mission from years ago when she was part of an Interpol operation targeting a multinational drug cartel. During the mission, she was ambushed and had to kill a Russian mercenary named Eric Ivan. Ishigaki then points out that Andre's last name is also Ivanov, which raises Tracy's suspicions, and she begins to wonder if Andre is related to Eric. She thinks to herself to stay vigilant, as Andre's skills and abilities are something she can't underestimate. Meanwhile, the other group climbs the cliff and makes their way toward the volcano. Ning is still worried about Jin after hearing her scream earlier and prays for her safety. Along the way, they discover the food bag that Andre and Tracy had left behind. This discovery makes him suspect that danger might be lurking ahead, and he mentions hearing gunshots in the swamp earlier. He then points toward the volcano and urges the group to move quickly to find antidotes, as he is especially concerned about Jang and wants to ensure he gets treated as soon as possible. As Jin's group reaches the volcano, they find the intense heat almost unbearable. Andre warns them that the higher they climb, the hotter it will become. Jin suggests they take a break to rest and drink water. However, during their rest, they realize that Ishigaki is missing, and alarmed, they begin calling out for him. Andre decides to search for him alone, but shortly afterward, they hear the other guy's voice calling out only for him to disappear as well. Tracy grows suspicious of Andre, leading to a heated argument between the two. Their argument, however, is interrupted when they hear Jin scream, and they rush to help her, finding her trapped in quicksand. They manage to pull her out, and not far from the scene, they find Ishigaki unconscious as well. The other group also arrives near the volcano, and Jang starts to feel dizzy and disoriented, struggling to keep up with the group. Ning encourages him to stay strong and suggests taking a shower in the hot water nearby to help him recover. The professor notices the area's abundant geothermal resources, which surprises him. However, while showering, the professor starts shivering uncontrollably despite the heat, and his condition quickly worsens. Ning suspects that he might have acute malaria and remembers that Jin has the herbs necessary for treatment and resolves to find her group as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Jin tends to the unconscious Ishigaki, and the group is running low on food supplies because he accidentally dropped their food box into the water. Andre and Tracy decide to search for food, but the other insists on joining them, saying that Ishigaki's earlier advice not to leave Tracy alone with Andre. Tracy reassures him that there's no need to worry and leaves with Andre. Elsewhere, Ming and Fatty spot an apple floating in the water, which makes them believe Jin's group might be struggling with food shortages. Tracy and Andre later discover a man-made tunnel inside a cave, and they follow it to find a crosswalk leading to what appears to be a research facility. Deciding to investigate further, they split up and Tracy finds an electric breaker. She turns it on and enters the facility. Inside, she discovers an underground power station, and suddenly the door behind her shuts, and a man in a construction vehicle appears attacking her. She manages to hide and escape his attacks, thinking that it is Andre who is attacking her. Hearing the commotion, Fatty and Ning follow the sounds heading toward the scene. Meanwhile, Andre hears gunshots and rushes toward the noise, while Tracy continues to fight off the attacker, managing to fire a shot at him. The two fight one another, thinking that they are the one attacking each other, and Ning arrives just in time to stop them. He stops the fight by threatening to waste the food in his hand if the two don't stop. Now realizing the importance of food, they stop arguing and attacking each other. Meanwhile, Jin is waiting for Ishigaki to wake up, and when the other guy is extremely hungry, she gives him her last apple, saying he needs it more than her. He eats half the apple and saves the rest for Ishigaki. Seeing this, she becomes emotional and says that is a really nice guy, and he tells her that his Buddhist grandfather had taught him to be kind to others. Soon, Ling and the others arrive at the scene with food. They feed Ishigaki, who is still unconscious, and Ling tells Jin about Jang, who is slowly turning to the zombie monkey, and the professor, who seems to be sick with acute malaria. Everyone becomes worried about Jang and the virus. Ling suggests treating the professor first, but Jin decides to go along with him and Andre to help both the patients. The three head to the cave where the patients were left, but find them missing, and Andre suggests splitting up to search. After a while, they find a knife left behind by Shang and Ling's suspects. The patients have been taken to a research facility and decides to regroup and head there together. At the cave, Officer Tracy seems troubled while looking at her gun, and Ling informs the group about the missing patients, and shortly after, Ishigaki wakes up. Jin explains where they are and checks his pulse. He promises to repay her for helping him, but she insists she was just being a good team player. He notices that Ling is behaving differently and remembers his past as a successful software engineer. Despite his achievements, he feels technology and wealth are useless in their current situation. The group reaches a geothermal power plant and is shocked by its advanced construction. They realize such a facility would require government support, and Ishigaki points out that they need to find the harbor for transportation, but it's too dangerous to look for it now. Instead, they decide to explore the lab first. Inside, they discover a dead researcher and supercomputers, and he manages to hack into one and access limited information. He assigns tasks to the group, sending Tracy, Jin, and Fatty to search the biochemical area. When they reach there, they find the zombie monkeys in containers and an antidote, though Fatty gets scared and waits outside. Meanwhile, Ling, Jinning, and Andre explore another section and find spacesuits and military ID cards. As they continue searching, they worry about government involvement in this dangerous immortality research. The other guy starts feeling unwell due to a psychological disorder triggered by stress, and he recalls losing control in a basketball game years ago and fears it's happening again. Following Ishigaki's instructions, he heads to another area marked as a restaurant. Meanwhile, Jin's team returns with the antidote, while Ming's group finds a room with skeletons sitting in a restaurant as if they died suddenly while eating. Andre checks on the body and discovers it is not as old as the other dead bodies, and Ning finds a card in the dead man's pocket, revealing he was a research facility supervisor named Yasu. They use the card to unlock other doors and find a notebook in his pocket, but the pages are missing. Suddenly, they hear someone outside and Andre goes to check while Ning examines the book and finds something written on the last page. Meanwhile, Jin is disappointed by the experiments conducted on humans while a figure is watching them from behind a pillar. Tracy tells Jin that in this world only the powerful matter and the poor are exploited. The figure behind the pillar throws a grenade at the team. Tracy and the others lie down to avoid the blast. Tracy hides Jin and Fatty under the stairs and warns them about someone who wants to kill them. She suspects Andre is behind the attack, but the others disagree. She shows them a door and explains how they can escape while she covers them. Fatty, who has the access card, decides to make the first run despite the danger. He gathers his courage and starts running, but an arrow hits him in the neck. He continues to the door and opens it for the others to pass through. As the ladies escape, another grenade is thrown at him, killing him in an explosion. Jin cries for him, but Tracy pulls her away to keep moving. They hide in another room, but the mysterious man continues to follow them. The two hide in a washroom when toxic gas starts leaking, and they try to open the door, but it is locked from the outside. Unable to bear the gas, they fall unconscious, and the mysterious figure arrives taking them. Meanwhile, Fatty and the other guy reach the control room and ask Ishigaki about the situation. He reveals that it was Andre behind the attacks and is taking the unconscious women with him in a trolley. Ishigaki believes Andre is working without getting captured, and on the monitor, they see that he is in control. Ning decides they should first find Andre's location before attacking. He gives the notebook with some numbers to Ishigaki, who believes they may be a password to a supercomputer. He enters the numbers, unlocking areas that were previously inaccessible. Suddenly, a scanner rises from the ground, requiring a hand scan for second-level authentication. The supervisor's handprint is needed to grant access, and if they don't scan it, the system will self-destruct. The other guy panics, but Ning gives him a plan. He orders him to run to the cafeteria and bring the supervisor's body. As a normal person would take 10 minutes to cover the distance, but he being an athlete can make it in time. The other guy faces numerous challenges during the run, but after some encouragement from Ning and Ishigaki, he pushes on. At the cafeteria, he struggles but eventually carries the supervisor's body and runs toward the control room. There he sees Andre standing in his path, but does not stop and makes it just in time, placing the hand on the scanner.